end of this earth. And because we have tasted the bitter swill of civil war and segregation and emerged from that dark chapter stronger and more united, we cannot help but believe that the old hatreds shall someday pass, that the lines of tribes shall soon dissolve, that as the world grows...
But see, when he says the lines of tribes, they actually play groups off against each other. They mean world government stopping anybody having sovereignty.
Smaller, our common humanity shall reveal itself, and that America must play its role in ushering in a new era of peace.
That means world government.
To the Muslim world, we seek a new way forward based on mutual interest.
Did he say anything about Gaza? Does he say anything about the thousands of people, tens of thousands, targeted under the Patriot Act and non-terror-related cases in prison right now? Is he saying anything about the... No, he's doing nothing. More lies, more false promises, more betrayal.
Interest and mutual respect. To those leaders around the globe who seek to sow conflict or blame their society's ills on the West, know that your people will judge you on what you can build, not what you destroy.
Oh, as you put sanctions on them, and as the U.S., the people that control the U.S., I don't want to be in that paradigm, stage terror attacks in Iran, and do all of that? You mean that? And overthrow their country over and over again? You mean that?
To those who claim to power through corruption and deceit and the silencing of dissent.
Corruption and deceit. Blagovich, the guy who was going to have head up the Department of Commerce, Governor Bill Richardson having to step down. All these corrupt people in his administration, his new Treasury head that he wants, doesn't pay taxes. It's big mafia Chicago machine merged with the big foundations of the New World Order. Corruption? You're telling everybody... See, this is doublespeak. It's all. If his speech was about world unity, he would just say, I want to work with all of you in the world. We're all going to be friends. We're not going to attack you anymore. Instead, it's, how dare you want division? How dare you cause all the problems? How dare you be corrupt? He's hyping everybody up to hate the rest of the world and go out and attack whoever he aims at. I mean, do you see the... I've never seen a speech with this much deception and evil. And when folks post this at prisonplanet.tv, it's live streaming right now, our analysis. I hope all of you make sure this video goes viral. It'll probably be 10, 15 parts. We're going to come back, continue with this. We're about 80% through. Stay with us. This is key. Something. Okay, let's go back to the... We're now going to go back to analyzing Barack Obama that we did in the first hour and a half. So here we go.
Know that you are on the wrong side of history, but that we will extend a hand if you are willing to unclench your fist.
That means to Iran and everybody else, do exactly what the UN says. Let the world government run all your countries, rogue nations, i.e. nations that are under their control, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. We're not saying what these countries are. We're not judging them as the good guys and the globalists the bad guys. They're all pretty much bad guys. The point here is that, you know, you do what we say, and then we'll rule you, or you're going to get it.
To the people of poor nations, we pledge to work alongside you to make your farms flourish and let clean waters flow.
Yeah, that means force in genetically modified food to the IMF and World Bank and United Nations, World Health Organization, the forced sterilizations, the inoculations, the villagers all over Asia, Africa, Latin America run when the UN trucks come with shots. They pay the local governments to hold them at machine gun point and inject them. The women that have babies spontaneously abort. It's all on record, mainstream news. That's the help that's coming with the food to the third world. We have State Department Memorandum 200. We have the Club of Rome documents. We have the Royal Commission on Population, where the governments of the world admit they're really exterminating these third world populations.
To nourish starved bodies and feed hungry minds. And to those nations like ours that enjoy relative plenty, we say we can no longer afford indifference to the suffering outside our borders.
Now, what that means is doubling and tripling UNICEF and the UN, IMF, and World Bank funding, so more of our tax money going to carry out the eugenics operations in the name of saving the children.
Nor can we consume the world's resources without regard to effect. For the world has changed, and we must change with it.
Yeah, the bankers are bringing in the world government. It has changed, and we must change with it. We've got to be futuristic. We've got to do what they say.
As we consider the road that unfolds before us, we will remember with humble gratitude.
The world that unfolds. These guys have engineered the hellhole we're going into. But it's like, oh, it's unfolding. We got to go into the future.
Those brave Americans who, at this very hour, patrol far-off deserts and distant mountains.
See, so he ties looking to the future, being optimistic with the troops in all these evil wars. Again, we're not even attacking those individual troops. It's that these wars are evil. 3 million dead Iraqis, 1.5 million just since the 5.5-year occupation, 1.5 million before that in the siege known as the sanctions.
Mountains. They have something to tell us, just as the fallen heroes who lie in Arlington whisper through the ages.
See, now if you're not for Obama, you're against those that lie in Arlington, all those little white crosses, all those tombstones, all those stars of David, all those crescents, all those dead Americans. They're out there in Arlington, and you get with my agenda or you're against them. You know, you get with the troops fighting overseas or you're against the dead who supposedly fought for liberty and freedom, but they've set up a tyranny in Iraq.
We honor them not only because they are the guardians of our liberty, but because
the guardians of our liberty, they're announcing they're going to use the U.S. military against the American people to suppress the population while the government does everything that's diametrically opposed to the people's will, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence.
They embody the spirit of service, a willingness.
Now we're getting into the spirit of service. Get everybody hyped up. Talk about soup kitchens, then bait and switch with forced domestic military force. Because little yuppies don't want to go out fight overseas. They'll be suppressing you. All the Eddie Haskells, all the control freaks, all the know-it-alls running your life on every corner. Little secret police commissar pimps. They're openly setting it up.